Which brings us to the incomparable Fred Couples, another past Masters winner. In this week's edition of the Couples Chronicles, Fred and caddy Joe LaCava reflect back on Freddie's 1992 victory. In particular, those final paces on the 72nd hole. His mindset as he moved closer to slipping on the coveted green jacket.
So back in '92, I was at a great age, never won a major, always wanted to win and always wanted to win at Augusta. So I had this vision of when I went to Augusta, you know, it's going to be a great week for me, and Joe's got a little bit more to it, but I was on go.
So when we're leading up to that golf tournament, I'm thinking to myself, you know, a couple things might happen here. Fred might run out of gas because back in the day when you're playing well, you know, he's doing press every day. It takes a lot out of you. And I'll never forget the first day we were paired with Davis Love. Back then, I think it was twosomes on the first day. And I remember Davis, you know, because Fred had beaten Davis at Riviera, 2 months earlier or whatever it might have been. And Davis never missed a shot. Fred played awfully well too, but Davis probably outplayed him that day. I'm thinking to myself, wow, how are we going to beat this guy over 4 days? Because he never missed a shot. And as it turns out, obviously, I don't know where Davis finished. I'm sure he played well. But everyone knows the story. Fast forward to, you know, I don't want to go through everything all at once. But I mean, obviously, a little bit of a break on 12. And then I remember us getting to 15. And before the back tee, and Fred had to drive down the left side. And, you know, Fred's got a great feel for the game and, you know, makes a lot of his own calls. But I was really almost begging him to lay up here because he was behind the trees. Also knowing only 2 years into it that, you know, Fred can hit a hook or a cut with the best of them. When I say hook or cut, I mean, I'm not talking 10 or 15 yards. I'm talking 60 yards. And he's got the talent to do that. And he kind of looked at me as if to say, I want nothing to do with laying this ball up. I don't like that third shot. I'm going to hook this 7-iron around the trees. And I honestly didn't like the shot because I think, you know, when you're hooking the shot, you don't have that much control over it. And when I say hooking it, I think he started at the right bunker. And as it turns out, it ended up left of the green, more or less pin high, you know, 35, 40 feet from the pin. You know, a pretty relatively easy chip. And if you said to yourself you're going to miss the green, where would you want the ball? That's basically where it would have been. But I wanted nothing to do with the shot. And you hit a great shot. I don't think you made birdie, but it didn't matter because I think you made par.
Birdie, no.
Right, and that's kind of all you needed. And then fast forward to 18. Well, you made a great par putt on 17.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not an easy putt because you knocked the
No.
birdie putt by obviously more than you wanted to.
Right. So I make a nice little par putt for a 2-shot lead. We go to the 18th hole, and if you remember back then, guys like Woosnam, you just bomb it. And a butter cut for me was a pretty easy shot. I love the 18th hole, and I don't cut it very much. All I had to do was swing as hard as I could carry the bunker. I just thought, I'm not going to do that. Now it's down the lip of the bunker, and we go up, and I'm standing there, and Joe comes, gives me the yardage, and we started talking about it, and I just looked at him, I said, I got this.
Right.
I can handle this.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, so I got another 7-iron. I hit it up on the top tier.
A lot of things can happen in that bunker, but you hit a hell of a shot to 20 feet right of the hole, dead nuts pin high, and you had a 6-inch putt, and you made it. So I'm so jacked up, you know, I'm young, whatever, I think whatever. And then I said to myself, you know, I think I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to grab both the stick and the flag, because as a caddy tradition goes, you kind of grab the flag off the top of the stick, and you keep that, and that's kind of like your trophy. And so I said, I'm going to change it up and grab the stick and the flag. So you're off the scoring tent, and I take, you know, like 2 steps this way to go to kind of finish off the day or whatever. And they have Pinkerton there, and the guy says to me, he had the badge the whole 9 yards. Pinkerton says, you know, that's private property. It's, you know, that's property of the club. You know, you can't have that, basically, more or less. And, you know, I don't know if Augusta's going to see this or not, but I basically said, you know, again, I'm young, and I think I'm tough, and I'm not tough. And I say to the guy, listen, if you can get it from me, you can have it. And then basically he looked at me as if to say, you know what, I'm not going to go there. And I said, perfect, and I was on my way. So I kept that, and then fast forward to 2019, I did the same thing. You know, when Tiger won, I kept them both because I figured, you know what, maybe I'll put that in my house someday, and it'd be a great keepsake. And that's kind of how it went.
He's got crisscross flags in his house,
right,
with the Masters logo dangling. I mean, I find like that's the greatest story of all time. All time. And I don't know of any other caddies, but I can promise you, you've got the oldest flag and stick.
Yeah, that's
true. And you may have set a precedent, but there's no one that has an older one. Now, the better one is Tiger Woods. We all know that, but it's still pretty cool you got 2.
No, they're both pretty special, so it's all good.